Hey everybody, how y'all doing today? Well, today here at D-Ray Shop, we're going to be working on this Yamaha F250 250 horse 4-stroke outboard. Today we're going to be taking the lower unit down on it. We're going to put a water pump in it and show you guys how to do that today. It's real easy to do it yourself, save you a little bit of money, so let's get at it. Okay, there's 8 bolts that holds this lower unit onto the power head itself. Once you got 3 bolts down each side. There's going to be 1 bolt that's hidden in a hole right in front of the trim tab. Then there's actually going to be another bolt that's hidden under the trim tab itself. So we're going to remove this trim tab so we can access that bolt, and I'm going to show you how you got to mark this thing, because the trim tab is adjustable and you want to be sure and get it right back in the same position that it was when you removed it. Okay, here's a little close-up view of our trim tab, and if you'll notice, there's some marks cut into the bottom of the lower unit to align that trim tab up. And so what you want to do is, I'm just going to make me a little mark here with a Sharpie, so that way we can get it back in trim, and that way the boat will track properly when it's out on the water and planed out. Now, to get that trim tab off of there, there is a rubber plug on top of the lower unit here. You just pop that rubber plug out, and then there's a bolt down in there it will take out to remove that trim tab. Right, there's our trim tab. And there's our 8th bolt right up under here. Take that one out. Now, the other thing you want to take note of is this is the 8th bolt that was hid up under the trim tab. It's going to be quite a bit longer than all of your other lower unit bolts, so be sure that you get this bolt back in this hole. Alrighty guys, so I'm taking the last bolt out, and we're getting ready to remove this lower unit. Now do be careful with it, because it is going to be quite heavy. There it is. That's our lower unit. And our water pump is going to be right here at the end of this shaft. So let's set it aside and we'll take the cover off of it and see how it looks. We're getting ready to take our water pump cover off, but before we do, we want to determine the direction of rotation of our input shaft. And the reason why that's important to know is, here's a new impeller that we're going to be putting in this lower unit. As you can see, it's got rubber vanes on it, and the way this pump works is the shaft is actually not centered in this housing. It's offset to one side. So as the pump rotates within the housing, the vanes curl in one direction, and that's what makes it pump. It lets the vanes elongate in one position, and in the other position it's pulled off to one side. So this pump has to be turning in a certain direction, or otherwise if you put it in there backwards, then when you do your initial startup, it's going to tear these vanes all up and it's going to ruin your pump. So the way that we determine our direction of rotation is, since those vanes are curved inside that pump housing, if we grab a hold of the shaft and twist it, we'll notice that we can twist it in one direction, but it really doesn't want to twist in the opposite direction. And that's because the vanes are curved. So on this outboard motor here, if you look down from the top of the shaft toward the pump housing, it's going to be turning in a clockwise direction. So we want to remember that when we go to orient the vanes of our new impeller in the pump housing. So let's go ahead and take this cover off. Next, we'll just take a screwdriver. We'll very carefully pry this cover loose. And just slip that right off of the shaft. And what that has is a rubber O-ring that seals that onto the pump plate. Now, the impeller is actually covered by a stainless steel housing that actually runs the pump itself. And it's got a little O-ring here on the top. You want to just take that one off. We'll retain that for reassembly. And then we're going to take this cover off here. And you can see how those impeller vanes are curved. So now you kind of get a better understanding of why it's very important to note the orientation of the direction of the input shaft, so we can get this pump back in place in the right direction. So now to remove the actual impeller itself, we're just going to reach in here with a screwdriver. We're just going to very carefully pry it up on the shaft. And you will note that there's a small keyway on the shaft there. Then when we go to install this new impeller, we're going to have to be real sure that we get those lined up. So let's go ahead and take that impeller off. Yeah, that impeller looks real good. We'll hang on to this one and give it back to the owner. It'll make him a real good spare in case he has a pump failure and doesn't have access to one readily. They can certainly reuse this one. There's nothing wrong with that one at all. And a good thing to know about these Yamaha impellers is you can see the keyway that's cut into it that matches up with the keyway on the shaft. You can't put these in upside down because it doesn't have a keyway cut in the top. It's only cut on the bottom, so that makes it real easy to know which direction this pump goes. Alright, so let's set this aside and we'll start putting our new impeller on.